Hello, my dear students. I will be today going over the directions on how to create your mandala, which is in your balance, Principles of Art Balance project. The mandala is a design, the circular design pattern. So it's using design and pattern in balance because it's a repeated balanced pattern. So what we're going to do is create a circular mandala, sorry, and I'm showing you the directions step by step. So these are examples of mandalas actually made out of sand by Tibetan monks, really intricate and amazing. We're going to do a little bit of an easier version. We're going to use a digital drawing program, Pixlr.com, and I'm going to show you the steps on how to create a pattern, and then you're just going to simply paste it and repeat it around. It was like a pizza shape, so like a pizza slice. So let's get started, shall we? I'm going to use Pixlr.com like we always do. You can use any drawing software that you prefer. I'm just going to do the directions for you in Pixlr. It's going to be similar probably to any free online software or Photoshop. Let's go to create a new image. I went to editor, create a new image, and I want to make a square because I'm going to make a circle where everything's the same. So I'm just going to do 800 by 800. It doesn't matter what size, but that's an easy one to start with. So now I have my blank canvas, and what I'm going to start with is my circle shape. The easiest way to draw this is to go ahead and just grab the drawing tool. Simple. I'm going to grab a circle because that's what I'm going to draw. And before I do anything, I want to take my fill shape color and I'm going to change that to white because it's black and I don't really want a black circle. It's too hard to see. So I've just changed my color to white. That's going to be my shape. Push OK. And then double check right here. Yes, it has a white fill shape color. Okay, so now I'm going to draw my circle. I'm going to start way up in the corner and just do a big circle. Keep going till it fills my space. And this looks pretty good. And when you let go, you'll be able to see. If for some reason you don't have a border line or that black line around, you can just change the size of it. Make sure that it's not at 0. You can make it thicker if you want. I just have it set at the default of 1. So let's start dividing up our circle, our mandala, into different sections. I'm going to make it look like a pizza or a cake or pie, depending on what you're hungry for right now. I'm going to go back to my drawing tools, still have it, and this time I'm going to choose the line shape because I'm just going to make straight lines. It's going to be the easiest. You can draw this with a tablet and a pen if you would like, but this is pretty easy to do as long as you're choosing the straight lines. I'm just using a mouse for this. So I'm going to go ahead and try to divide this straight up and down in half. So you can see my line is kind of off. Try to make it perfectly straight up and down, vertical line, and then let go. Pretty good. Don't worry if you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm going to go ahead and divide this now into quarters. This is half, and I'm going to try to pick about halfway. Just guessing. This looks about right. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that I intersect my other lines as I continue to divide this with the middle. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky, is I'm going to try to come halfway through this quarter. This is a little bit hard to do without measuring, so just do your best. I'm going to start about right here. It looks pretty good. Make sure I go right through the middle. Okay, if I'm off, it's going to be wrong, so just make sure your line goes straight through the middle and then let go when it reaches the other side. Okay, we're almost done with creating our template. And then the last one is we're going to try to do the exact same thing where I start over here and intersect to make sure I go right through the middle. And then let go and see if that one looks okay. This one looks maybe not perfect. You see how those shapes are a little bit off, so if I wanted to, I could edit, undo, and try to fix that. My little pies didn't look quite right. Somebody would be fighting over the bigger slice, so we don't want that. This looks better. Looks pretty good to me. I'm not worried about them being perfect, like I said. Okay, so now that you have your template, we're going to go on to the next step, which is decorating one of the slices. Okay, for our next step, I'm going to choose one of these slices. You can pick any one you want, but the easy way to do this is to use your magic wand tool. It's a great tool to use. It's going to select this area, whichever one you choose. So I'm going to pick, let's pick this one right here. So when I click in that area, what it does is it chooses just that slice. Okay, So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to duplicate this. So I'm going to go to Layer. Actually, before I go to Layer, let's back up. I need to go to Edit, and I'm going to copy what I have selected. So first step is to actually copy this pie slice or pizza slice. Now, do what I was going to do before is I'm going to go to Layer, New Layer. So now if I look over here, I have my bottom layer, which is what my drawing is on, my top layer, which is blank right now. So on my top layer, I have that selected. Then I'm going to go to Edit, and I'm going to go to Paste. And what I have right here is I actually have my pie slice, but I have it just kind of floating in the middle. So if I use my move tool, I'll be able to see what I'm doing a little bit better. I'm actually going to move it back into its slot, which is a little strange, but that way I can still see the line around it, or right around in that area. Okay, so now when I draw on this pie slice, I'm only drawing on the top layer, so it won't affect all my other ones. Okay, which might seem a little bit strange, but I'm only going to draw on just that. All of the everything underneath, if I uncheck that, you'll see it looks just fine. We're not messing with that. Okay, so with my new layer, I want to select my magic wand tool again, and I'm going to click and make sure that I select that slice. This is the slice that I copied and pasted on top of my bottom pie. So if I actually get rid of that bottom layer, see, it's just that slice I'm drawing. If I want to, I can leave that hidden. If it has a little lock right here on your bottom layer, you can just double click that lock and it'll go away. So you'll be able to do what I'm doing, which is hide that bottom part. So actually I'm going to get rid of the bottom layer. It's still there. It's just this little check makes it either visible or not. It might make it a little easier for me to color and fill in this slice if I don't see the rest. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a color that I want to fill in. Let's pick any color you want. It's all up to you. Let's pick a nice blue. That looks pretty. I'm choosing right here, and this also changes the brightness or the darkness or the hue. So I selected this. Once I've selected the color, I can double check and make sure that's the one I want. I'm going to use my paint bucket to just fill that in with that blue. Okay, so I've chosen this nice bright blue, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to decorate this so that you can take your time and decorate this however you want. You can draw freehand if you prefer, or you can use the little shape tool or the drawing tool, which is kind of an easy trick. So if I go back to my drawing tool and I select some circles, for example, and I change the fill shape color, then I can kind of easily fill in some simple little designs. When I do this, it should pop in those. And I can also make my border line a little bit thicker if I change this back to black. It'll make a line around all my shapes, which you may or may not want. So when I do this, that makes a little black line around my circles. It's sort of looking like a pizza now, doesn't it? And if I go on top of that again, if I have something I don't like, it'll just cover it. Okay, and then again, maybe I want my lines to be like this. If you're going to choose lines, you remember you can change the color of your line the same way we change the paint bucket color. So this will make a purple line now if I do this. So you may want to do some funky lines, shapes. Oh, I forgot to select that. What happened? I didn't push OK. There it is. Just kidding. And I might want to make it thicker. So that's kind of a small line. So that's up to you. Just continue. You see how fat that line's going to be. And decorate this however you like. Okay, so I just spent some time and decorated this. Really does look like a ridiculous pizza. I must be hungry. Pepperoni. I will now make the bottom layer visible. So now you can see the entire circle, what I'm working with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and then just paste it so that it fits in all of these other little slice areas. So let me show you how to do that, and you're just going to repeat it. So what I'll do is make sure I'm on that top layer, click Edit, Copy, and then again, Edit, Paste. Now I have another pizza slice exactly like my first one. So what I do is I first can just move it to where I'm going to put it right about here, and then Obviously that's not going to work, so then I'm going to go to Edit, and I'm going to go to Free Transform. And Free Transform lets you change the size and the angle. So try to leave the size the same because it should be correct. You may have to do some adjustments if your little slices are not perfect. But when I go to the corner of Free Transform, you notice that little circle? What I do is then I can rotate it and then move it into place the best that I can. And then you know what, I'm going to have to change the size a little bit. I can see it's off. So do your best to fit it. Just keep working with the Free Transform tool and try to get it to fit. Keep working on it and get it to fit that shape. Actually, my first one, and by the way, each slice will be in its own layer. See how it has its own one? I'm going to say yes for now because I'm going to come back and fix that in a minute. My first one is a little bit off, so I want to fix that. So whenever you want to move one of your slices, you just have to make sure that you select the correct layer. And this is honestly probably the hardest part. Well, maybe not. Depends on how patient you are. But this part will take you the longest to get your pattern correctly and get all of your shapes in the right spot on the template. So then you just keep going to each one. I'm going to go to Edit Paste again just to show you that I can do this over and over again and move it to where I want it to go. And then obviously I'm going to go to Edit, Free Transform. I'm going to keep working on this and take my time. Oops, I went too far. Rotate it into the right spot. And make it a little bit bigger. Now if I get this all correct, all of these should fit in once I'm done. It's going to take me a minute. See how I kind of have to keep working with the size and the shape. Alright, so you're going to repeat this over and over again until you get everything in the right spot. Okay, as I'm working to get these to fit into the right space, each time I cut paste a new slice in, what I'm going to do is show you how to use Free Distort also, which is going to be your best friend when you do this project actually. So I'm going to do my best to kind of line it up here for size, but see how it's way off. It's a little bit ridiculous. I'm going to go ahead and go yes, I'll apply that a change. But what I'm going to show you now is right under Free Transform is Free Distort, which is my favorite. Free Distort lets you just grab and kind of stretch it to fit. And what I'm noticing about my pattern is if you do this really well, you're going to create, like here it should create like a star design that goes around the whole circle. But I was kind of sloppy with my lines. These really should match up. So to do the better job, if I was going to do this over, is I would be much more careful about making my lines, which I recommend that you do, so that they all match up. These purple and pink lines right here, so that they don't look a little bit off. Okay, so I'm going to have you repeat this now that you've got half of it done. Get an example of how that looks. Keep going till the whole thing's done. If you don't like something, just remember you go to Edit, Undo, and it'll change what you just put in. Or you can delete an entire layer by just selecting that layer, right-clicking, and then delete it. Okay, so when you're done, here's my example that I made for you. When you're completely done, as you place each one carefully, it should look something like this. The more intricate and detailed your pattern is, the more beautiful, I think, your final result is. So it's up to you to use whatever color palette you want and whatever designs you want. And remember, if you're going to create lines and stuff, you might want to make sure they match up. Not like this example here, it's not the best. Okay, Free Transform under Edit and Free Distort are really important parts of making sure that this fits correctly and rotating it around and making sure the circle fits right, which I'd have to come back. There's a lot of little tweaks to do. But in the end, I think you'll be happy with your result. So good luck.